All right, guys, it's time for us to get out our glasses, raise them, and cheer in death of exclusivity one more time. Now, you guys know third-party exclusivity is absolutely not my thing. However, in this case, it's a little, in a sense, interesting because it's not necessarily fully third-party. And if you're wondering what game I'm talking about Predator Hunting Grounds, the game that is now an Xbox title as well, as you have it on PlayStation, on Steam as well. It moved to Steam sometime in the middle, and then Epic Games. Its first launch actually was PlayStation and Epic Games Store. One of the biggest problems and challenges I had, and at the time I wasn't a video game developer, I did not like Epic Games' exclusivity model, even though I never necessarily railed too hard against it because some of the games that they were, basically wanting to do exclusives, they had money in it. But some other games like Kingdom Hearts and Metro Exodus, man, I was not too pleased with that arrangement. However, with this Predator's Hunting Grounds game, the developer seemed to have wanted to take advantage of the Predator name being in the media circuit with the new Predator movie, or I guess Alien movie. Sorry, not Predator movie, but a new Alien movie that came out. It seemed appropriate to probably go ahead and get a franchise that has some or has had some collaboration with Alien in the past out there. And at the end of the day, I think it's actually pretty cool that they're, taking an IP that they worked on. They have gotten publishing rights. If you go on Steam right now, no longer are you going to see the name of, PlayStation as a publisher. You're going to actually see Ilphonic, who is a developer, but now is the publisher. So it's now Ilphonic Publishing. And I think it's actually pretty interesting to see that in today's very, competitive market, video games are going to have to take a different outlook in terms of how people engage with the titles that they play, with the titles that they're actually, interested in. And to be very honest, for many people, it's probably not going to be the shine because they're wanting to sell the game for, a pretty penny. I mean, it's not going to be cheap when you actually try to buy it, but it's not going to be too expensive at the same time. My interest, nonetheless, is how they actually plan to continue monetization across the board, because it's just one of those games where you really have to go ahead and say, well, I wonder what in the world they're going to go ahead and do with this particular game. But I think, they're probably going to figure it out. They've probably looked at, the advantages of going ahead to resurrect the game, and they've also looked at the disadvantages. Now, that's just one, tick and check off the box. The next one is Sifu is going to be coming to Game Pass. Now, this is actually really interesting, and it's actually quite cool because if you guys remember, Sifu was one of those games that was exclusive when it first launched. It was exclusive to the PlayStation platform and also with Epic Games. But now, when you actually open up your Game Pass, your Xbox app, or maybe you sign into Game Pass, you're going to go ahead and see it. In my opinion, this is one of those games where I was like, it's not on Steam. I'm not really, too keen on playing it. It doesn't catch my interest. But at the end of the day, one thing that I was quite certain was if, at the point, maybe I could actually have some convenience around it, I'll be willing to actually take a look at it and, more than likely play it. And believe you me, right now, the game is actually right here, on Game Pass. And I'm sure anybody who probably wants to go ahead and get their hands on it will more than likely enjoy the fact that, you can actually play a game that has been, for the most part, MIA. And that's a really interesting, aspect of all of the conversation. Like, when you kind of think about it, you say to yourself, well, Sifu was one of those games where it was interesting to try to take advantage of the PlayStation ecosystem, and try to, money hat these games and so on and so forth. But, right now, I don't necessarily think anybody is too, interested in a game like this. So the game has basically farmed all of its goods, and now it's going to pretty much make its way into Xbox. I'm going to go ahead and install it. I've been hearing a lot about the game. I've been hearing a lot of talk, and I want to test it out myself. And I remember when the game was on sale on other platforms like Steam and, all of the above, I just was not too interested in spending money after so long to trying to buy the game. But now that it's on Game Pass, I might as well just go ahead and use my subscription and try it out. I like, combat games and fighting games, and it's one that I was like, well, if it ever captures me, I'm going to sink, a lot of hours in it. So it really gives an opportunity. At the end of the day, though, it seems like, once exclusivity comes into the play, it's all just at this point in time timed exclusive. At some point, you're going to get the game. And if you're an Xbox, it seems like they're just signaling that, you're going to get an opportunity to get, your hands on the title at some point in time. When money is on the table and when development, times span too long, what else do you expect? Developers go ahead and start looking for ways to make money with already existing IP. I mean, this game right now is $7 on Steam. So if I like it, I will more than likely, cop it, and I'll play it because it's a very interesting proposition for me, and it's a kind of game that I actually do like. But at the same time, the game came out at in a season when it was super busy for me to even be bothered, having to deal with something like that. So I'm really looking forward to actually testing it out, to be very honest, because it's one of those things where as these markets and these, studios start to go ahead and evolve their strategy, more and more, they're going to realize that availability is pretty much the only means that they have. And, again, like I said, this is just, for me, the Game Pass subscription as a content creator is also kind of an audition ground from, most games. Some games I'll buy on Xbox, but for Game Pass, I just pretty much go ahead and sample these games. And if I like them immediately, I don't even waste time. I go ahead and buy them. I can buy them on here. I could buy them on Steam. But you'll see me, for the most part, trying to get them on Good Old Games these days because I really want to be able to, get some ownership. I say some ownership. I would love to have ownership of my own titles, too, because I built all this big library on Steam. And I'm thinking to myself, I know Stillman and Valve are, solid, but what if something were to happen and they decide otherwise to change their policy? What would I do in that regard if somebody decides they were going to take a game offline? Now, you'll still have the game in your library. They've always maintained that. But again, there are just some little contingencies where Steam doesn't really have the full openness that, you'll find on Good Old Games for the most part. But this is really interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I like the way the industry is actually shifting more and more. And hopefully we'll continue to see more and more of these. We'll continue to see Final Fantasy games and Square Enix eventually start to wake up and actually, compete in a way that doesn't give them this crutch, is what I call it. And PlayStation now is in a position where they may be facing this level of competition as well, saying that Xbox is not really bothered about the money hatting because they have content out there. I wonder how this is all going to play out. All right, I'm going to get out of your hair. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you're going to be playing Sifu, or if you already did play it, I know some of you have, let me know how you feel about the game. I mean, again, as somebody who likes playing the Arkham games and, Gotham Knights and such, it may be a game that finally appeals to me, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks once again. Appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.